Show, your number one community building show in the world. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, Alinko.
Hello, everyone. Good evening to you all. We are very excited to be coming your way for another episode on the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Alinko. This evening's topic is dating today's black men. I'm sure you have seen it on social media. Please help share the feed now as we go take Captain Mike's segment. When we come back, the show would begin. But want to remind our audience that we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can also watch us on Periscope, which is Twitter. It's November 3rd. It's a minute past 6 p.m. No, not a minute. It's like 3 minutes past 6 p.m. CST. We'll go straight to Captain Mike after this. As I said, the show will continue. Please stay with us. Bro, take it from here, man.
Well, how's it going there, Cena?
Well, I'm trying to get myself ready for this beautiful Quince because it's going to be hot on the platform today. But apart from that, trying to deal with this, sudden change in weather. Good is no longer raining. It's not. We're no longer having this cold rains. So hopefully, well, it's cold now. We understand that. But hopefully, you have some updates for us.
Yes, and we'll have some good news on that front too. Right now, 40 degrees, winds are out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour, mostly cloudy skies out of Midway right now. But we're going to get down to about 30 degrees on a low tonight. We're going to keep a few clouds. We're going to stay pretty dry this week. So we'll give you the latest updates. Rest of tonight, winds are going to stay out of the west at 5-10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, high 45. We're going to keep that southerly wind throughout the week, Friday and Saturday. Pretty nice days into the 50s. Lows touching around the mid 30s. Some windy conditions on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, Monday going to be our best days of the week. 60 Sunday and a high around 65 on Monday. Keep those southerly winds. Tuesday and Wednesday are also going to be pretty nice. A little bit on the windy side, some gusts up to maybe 20 miles an hour or so, and maybe a slight possibility of rain late Tuesday and late Wednesday, but we're going to stay pretty dry this week and a little warmer than average. Our average high around this year is about 55, around this time of year, 55 degrees, and our average low is about 40. So today we're about 10 degrees below our normal, but like I said, we're going to get above normal heating for the rest of this week, so which is a good thing. Tonight, the Bulls are playing the Sixers right now. Monday, the Bears are going to be in Pittsburgh playing the Steelers. On the health and fitness report, today we're going to talk about 3 types of specialists you may want to see to help your health. Blackdoctor.org, we recommend 3 types of specialists. 1, a dietitian. It's important to address our eating habits. In the Black community, we suffer from high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. So we want to just make sure we're eating properly and our foods are making our body as healthy as possible. But make sure your dietitian is registered. Next is a podiatrist. We go get pedicures a lot, but let's just make sure our foot health is in order. And we can address maybe some big or larger issues, but some of the smaller issues such as bunions, corns, ingrown toenails, and calluses can be remedied going to our podiatrist. And next is an endocrinologist. This is a hormonal specialist. Our hormones regulate the way our body and our systems work and how our moods change somewhat too. And they can do some comprehensive tests to make sure we're in top health. So make sure that if you have the time and resources, make sure you can check out some of these specialists to make sure our health is very high, and that's a big priority for us. So pay attention to your body, consult your primary care physician, and they can also recommend some specialists for you. So with that, Cena, we're going back to you.
Thank you, Captain Mike, for the updates. Well, at this moment, we would, well, Captain Mike, feel free to join in anytime. I know you'll be going home to watch the show, but chime in anytime, during the conversation. Your views are welcome. Okay.
Well, I tell you what, you're there with three pretty ladies. I'm here with my wife, so I'm I'm gonna have to stay out of this one. You keep trying to get me in trouble.
Well, it's going to be a very, educative, informative, since you're going to be hearing from the ladies what they want, how they feel. We last week, no, 3 weeks ago, maybe we had a similar conversation. We had all men, so we want to have want to hear from our beautiful queens as well. So again, yeah, stay tuned, share the feed as we proceed with the conversation. Captain Mike, thank you so much for the updates. We're looking forward to seeing you next week, same time.
All right.
All right. All right. Bye-bye. So we would go straight to our beautiful audience today. And as I said, we encourage that you share the feed on Facebook. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Need to adjust a few things here. Hello and good evening, everyone, again to the Progressive Mind Show. We are very excited that you joined the feed today. Everyone who has joined us, we sincerely welcome you and kindly help us share the feed, like the show, and comment. You can also call in. We'll give you the call-in number. What does the dating scene look like these days? What is expected of today's Black women? Black men in a relationship. What can we do to sustain and maintain a healthy relationship as a Black man, as Black men and women? Sorry, I keep getting interruptions in my feed here, so I would beg your indulgence, and I'll take it again. So, what can we do to sustain and maintain healthy relationships as Black men and women? These and many questions and variations of points is what we are trying to address, look at with our beautiful queens this evening. Here are the phenomenon Black women to help dissect and delve into the issues of tonight. We have SHERITTA Thomas, a marketing strategist and a professional dancer. SHERITTA, you're welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
SHERITTA, next to SHERITTA is Ruth WAINAINA. Did I mention the name correctly? Okay. I think your system is not working. Okay, so you are muted. Can you hear me, Ruth?
Hi.
Okay, now we can hear you. You can hear us good. So thank you so much. Ruth is a student at Ruth is an MSN student at RUTH at Rush Medical Hospital. And we have Felicia, who was supposed to be on the show. We're missing Felicia. Ruth, actually, let me correct this. Let me add this. Ruth is also the Face of Kenya USA ambassador. Face of Kenya USA ambassador. She resides in Chicago. And then on the list, third on the list is Sierra Miller, an Afro-American studies professor, and she's also the CEO of Sierra Learning Center. Once again, ladies, you're welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Sierra. Hello, Ruth. And hello, Sherry. Ruth, your mic is still off. I don't know why. Can you please keep it on? Good. Awesome.
I know.
Awesome.
Sorry.
All right. Can you hear us? Okay, awesome. No, ladies, I know I gave a brief introduction about yourselves, but maybe you want to let our audience know, aside from your professions that I just mentioned, who is SHERITTA Thomas? What else are you, interested in doing outside your professional work? And feel free to share about your family too, if you so please.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is SHERITTA Thomas. Outside of my professional work, I am a soon-to-be new mom. I don't know if you guys want to see my belly bump, but I'm going to show you anyway. He's small. Wait.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why my tripod does that, but
Yeah.
Besides that, I do plan to start my own podcast for Black mothers, and also just continue with my marketing.
Okay. Thank you so much for a beautiful introduction. Sierra Miller, aside you being a professor teaching at Kennedy King and being a CEO of your company, what else is Sierra Miller interested in?
That's a really great question. I feel like I spend so many of my hours doing the work that I love. So my work is very much so a part of me. Working with the youth, it inspires me. On top of that, I would say that I'm a traveler and a friend. I think those are two of the other very important roles that I play in my life.
Mm,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Traveler, and I hear it a lot. People who like to travel, would like to see other parts of the world. You personally, what do you, first of all, can you share some of the countries you visited and what you find interesting about those countries?
Okay. Well, you know, I've traveled quite a bit in Africa.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so definitely Ghana, right? Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Tanzania. And what I love is just being around Black people, being, in the motherland and just embracing the culture, getting outside of myself and understanding what Blackness means in different contexts. I think, yeah, that brings me joy.
Is there a favorite country you would want to share?
Tanzania. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Tanzania. Anything peculiar about Tanzania? For you?
Just the people are so kind and the food is amazing. And I've been trying to learn Swahili for some years, so I have a connection. Yeah.
Well, Sherita, you said you're going to start your own podcast and talk about, you said you want to talk about Black women. You said Black moms, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is inspiring you to want to do this podcast for Black mothers?
I think what has inspired me is we kind of don't ever talk about the roles that Black mothers play in society in raising our boys and raising Black men, because Black men in America, a strong there's a strong statement of a Black man in America. It's either he's going into a profession, or it's either he's targeted as something else. So our Black mothers have a big role that plays into raising Black boys, and also Black women as well. So, yeah.
That's a very powerful point and a powerful place to be coming from. Maybe that actually ushers us into the convo. But let's hear from Ruth. Can you hear us good? Okay, I think we might be having a challenge with Ruth's internet. Okay, so that Sherry, what you just shared is very powerful, and I said, like I said, it takes us to what we're trying to talk about today. Do you think that with the culture that you just mentioned, which is with the culture just because the African American culture now, the Africans will have their culture, and we have a way of doing things when it comes to the family and parenting. But you think that influences the way men and women deal with relationship, or some of the issues that we see in relationships in the Black communities, Sherita?
Yes, that's definitely something that I wanted to bring up. The way we are raised definitely plays a prominent point in how we go about relationships, and it plays a prominent point in how men go about relationships. The way their mothers treat them do have an effect on the women that they eventually date. I do believe that just from my own experience, a lot of Black men have been kind of a little coddled in a way, a little sheltered in a way, to whereas they start to look towards their women to almost be like their mother. And I'm only speaking from my own experience, but I think that how we are raising Black men has a big role and how they go about their relationships. And I'm only speaking from what I've experienced as well.
CIARA, you want to chime in on what Sherita just shared?
Yeah, I'm going to absolutely co-sign that, and also say that, I don't have statistics to back me on that point, but I do think that it is more of a norm for Black mothers to coddle their sons, but raise their daughters. And it's very interesting because when you look at other communities, generally speaking, that may not be the case as much. And I think a part of that is because of the fear of Black men being incarcerated, potentially being killed. There's so much fear around Black men and what could happen to their lives that there is this overprotection. And it's interesting, even outside of, motherhood and, coddling the sons. What I've noticed a lot of times is that when Black men enter certain spaces, especially if the space is dominated by Black women, a lot of times they can get a platform instantly. Because I think that it's such a rarity, honestly, to have Black men in certain professional spaces, or to have Black men who are alive and well, if that makes sense, right? It's such a scarcity that it's a status that's protected more than, Black women, like the livelihood of Black women amongst African Americans, I would say.
Right. Thanks for sharing. It's unfortunate that we're missing the two African women that we wanted to get on the show. Felicia, like we just couldn't get hold of her. Ruth is here, but we can't. Her internet is having a bit of technical issues. So we hope that you would bear with us. May I ask if both of you have dated as African American women? Have you dated outside your race or your ethnic? Would Sherita?
Oh, you're muted.
Sherita is muted. Yes, Sherita, you're muted. Go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay, I said definitely. The majority I've dated all around. I've dated, from white to Mexican to Asian. My soon-to-be son, he is half Nigerian, which I'm so proud of, and I've definitely experienced different cultural standards when it comes to having children, and just a lot of different things, different foods, different music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you dated all these different cultures and races, but now you have a baby on the way with this Nigerian, with African.
Yes.
Which tells me that Africa is the winner, right?
Definitely.
Okay. What was it? You wanna? You don't have to give us all details, but you want to tell us some of your experiences with dating different cultures and what you find with the African man versus an African American man or other cultures. But in this context, let's zero in on African American and African, based off what you told us regarding how African American men are raised by African American women. So, can you give us a contrast or a comparison, if you don't mind? African man, and African American woman for you, your experience.
Okay. Comparison for African men and African American
men, your experience having dated both.
Yes. I definitely think there's a huge difference. There's a huge cultural gap that we don't talk about. And I think with African men, I'll just start with them. They have more of the standard of, I want to take care of the woman, which could be completely new to an African American woman, just because with African men, it's more, I want to say almost 50-50. There are African American men who will want to take care of their woman, but I think it's more prominent with African men because especially if they're the first sons in their family from their mothers, and how their mothers raised them is more, you are the man of the family. So they have more of a strict way of going about things and really taking care of you, and really just being a man, like being the head of the relationship. Whereas African American men, they can almost be almost level here with you, or it's like a toddle, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so because thank you so much for sharing, because when you look from the outside, and if you're not an African American, and you watch some of the, and you listen to some of the stories you hear within the African American community in terms of their relationships, you will think otherwise. You say, oh, the guys are this because, you know, they just want to be that. But what the story you shared gives us a good understanding of what influences the African American man in dealing with, you know, his women. Ciara, you want to maybe chime in on the earlier question? Ruth, can you hear us good now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm so sorry. Just
No,
technical difficulties. Yeah.
no, it's not you. I think that the Russians are trying to hack into our system. So
I agree. I agree. That's what I. That's what I thought. This whole
yeah,
time.
we'll
Yeah.
blame it on the Russians. But good to have you back. Ciara, you wanted to chime in on the first question?
Can you remind me of the question? I'm sorry.
Trying to draw a contrast, you know, first of all, would you say you've dated multiple, you know, races, you know, in your lifetime?
I actually wouldn't say I've dated multiple races, but definitely different ethnicities.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've, for the most part, all been Black or, you know, or biracial, which one drop rule is still considered Black, right? So yeah. So my experience, I mean, I want to be, you know, clear. I don't want to create this type of generalized competition between different groups of Black men, but yeah, I think that. And this is actually a generalization too. Not all African men go through this, but I know many do kind of go through a rite of passage almost to become a man. There are certain things that you do. Your age alone won't just put you in that position of manhood. And I think that that tradition isn't fully there with, you know, African Americans. You know, that can go for women and men. A lot of times we think, hey, you're 18 or you're 21, you're grown. And, you know, despite that age, you know, you may or may not have had a job. You may or may not have paid for rent on your own. You may or may not have, you know, really had to fend for yourself just yet. And so I do see more of a desire to be like a family man when I'm dealing with, say, African men, more of a desire to provide and protect. Although, you know, it gets tricky because that's not to say that African American men don't have that desire as well. I think that the way our culture is kind of structured, sometimes that desire to provide and protect may not be fully respected in the community, largely because what we said before, a lot of African American men are coddled because, you know, we're looking at their lives as being more in danger. Although we also know that Black women's lives are in danger too. It's just a certain way in which we've been trained to shift our perspective kind of in favor of the protection of African American men. And so, yeah, and I also think that having a lot of single mother homes, I can't fully explain it, but I think that knowing that a lot of these men were raised by women, it can be a little difficult to respect that desire to provide and protect if you know that the man wasn't raised by someone outside of yourself or someone outside of your, you know, like who you are, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. It will take us to other points that we want to raise this evening. But Ruth, I don't know if you clearly could hear when we started. First of all, please give us a brief background of who Ruth is, outside the fact that you are an MSN student at Rush Medical School.
Yeah, so I was born in Kenya and then moved here a few years ago. I was going to college and then I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I should join the Army. So I did that for 7 years. So I was active duty for 7 years and then still doing the reserve. I love it. I just loved serving this country. Besides that, you know, just an outgoing person and just so glad to be here. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. If you say Miss Kenya, face of Kenya USA ambassador, what's that?
Oh yeah, so that's something that I'm very passionate about. Actually, it's a charity organization. So when people hear Face of Kenya, they think, "Oh, did you do this like walking across the stadium and you were like doing some modeling thing?" No, but it was a charity organization. So would raise we. You find a charity back home, which is in Kenya. It doesn't have to be Kenya; it could be Africa. But I relate more to Kenya. So you find a charity that you want to support, and then we raise funds and then send whatever help we can. So it's I was an ambassador a few years ago, but it's an ongoing thing. So I just hold that title for the rest of my life, basically. Yeah.
Did you have to compete in a pageant show or something
Yeah,
to get a...
I did.
Okay,
I
okay.
did, but that was to add the fun to the whole thing. But the whole picture was the charity. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you had the, I wouldn't say opportunity, but have you had to date different ethnic groups, different ethnicities, cultures, races in the past?
Yeah, I have actually dated different races. Like I've dated a white guy, I've dated black guy. That's the most I've dated African Americans and Africans.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, to answer the question, yes,
Okay.
I have.
Awesome. Now, again, not to draw any type of, not to create any type of competition here, but
Yeah.
from your maybe experience, can you share with us what you found interesting in these experiences, in your relationship experience of yours?
I think just like everybody mentioned, it's different because like say with Africans, the upbringing is different, and like I don't hold that against anybody the way they were brought up. So going into these relationships and things like that, it's I have the like I kind of have I'm a very open-minded person. So there's probably expectations like, oh, if I'm dating an African guy, then this is how they behave, and probably that's not fair, But like they mentioned earlier, the upbringing, you can see they're very family oriented, and like I don't want to seem like I'm holding this against anybody because so like we said, some African American, like maybe the person that I was with, they not to put out his business out there, but just a general thing, their upbringing, they had a single mom, and that really takes into account how a person ends up, and eventually, people change because you want to change and you want to be a better person, but that's just my experience. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. They mentioned, I mean, the other two beautiful queens mentioned that, said something about how black African American men, no, African American men are cuddled by their mothers based off the history and everything. Do you think it's the same for African men? Do you think African men cuddle African men as well? Like in your experience, in your own experience growing up as a Kenyan?
No, I really don't think they were cuddled because
Okay.
even for women, no, it's like family and maybe the way we grew up with our grandparents, like we see how they have families, and sometimes I feel like that culture sometimes hold us back because you're taught to stick out, like you stay with the person that you get married to no matter what's going through, which is fine. But then these issues like violence, there's domestic violence, but you're taught to be like, oh, you gotta stay with this person. But the thing with say African American men, the way I've noticed, they and even living in this country, you have your word. You don't have to be the person just because you care about what society says. But I feel like with back home with Africans, it's just like, no, I don't want people to talk about me. I don't want this and this. Yeah, so that's the only thing I would say. But I don't think about the cuddling. No.
Right. You don't think? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, you're right. As an African man, shoot, cuddles, far away. It was very far away from my upbringing. My mom had no time to cuddle you at all. If anything, it's probably now that I'm grown. When she realizes that, she said, "Oh, you're single, so let me make you some food. Let me try and make you some food so that you don't have to hustle." Once in a while, yeah, she would do that, but when you're growing up as an African man, you know, cuddle is far from the dictionary or the, you know, the playbook that, you know, they use in bringing you up. It's hardcore. So those are the differences. But of course, the culture, the environments influence, you know, all these things. So, ladies, thank you so much for sharing. Is it more difficult when the man is educated versus when he's not? Maybe he's just, you know, a handy person or working, you know, having a regular job and not necessarily getting a college degree or master's, doctorate. Is it any difference, or does it make it any difficult when dating a black man with a degree, you know, a highly educated black man? Sherita, from your experience. I'm sorry, I think that we have you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. From experience, yes, there's a huge difference. I think that when, you know, any kind of man is educated and he has his background and a degree in something that he really wanted to study, he has more of a confidence about him. And I believe that most of the time, to be able to hold an intellectual conversation allows that relationship to be more interesting and more like stimulating, because I feel like, not to be so blunt, but to be able to stimulate a woman's mind and to be able to take the conversation further is better than sex, in my opinion. So there's a huge difference.
Okay. An educated black man stimulates. Okay. All right. Ciara, any comments? Your response to this?
It's interesting because it made me think. I said, wow, in my adulthood, have I ever dated a man who didn't at least have a college degree? And I don't think I have. So I can only compare that to maybe when I was a teenager. What's interesting to me is that, yes, you know, educated black men can have very intellectually stimulating conversations. But I'm also someone who was raised on the west side of Chicago. And so there's another edge to me that I feel academia squashes. And so while the conversation can be super intellectual, a lot of times I don't find black men in those spaces who are rebellious enough to really disrupt the system. Conflict, right? That's when you have a lot of educated black women wondering, like, oh, you know, what are my chances of getting with these black men who, I want to say, who've been whitewashed to a degree. And that's not necessarily negative. I mean, that's the reality of being institutionalized, you know, being kind of forced to take on certain values, wanting to climb up the social ladder and achieve things that white men with money and power have achieved. There's a part of me that would actually really love someone who understands the streets, but also has that intellect and doesn't want to participate in the system, but wants to really actually create his own values and live that truth. That's more of what I'm looking for.
Is it difficult to find these type of men you just described, Ciara? I mean,
of course. Of course.
Because it has to be a fine balance, you know, it has to be a fine balance. And for you, is it that important? Because is it a breaking point? Is there a breaking point for you when, you know, there is that gap? You know, how would you want to say, how do you want to address that? Is that very critical for you, that there should be that balance? And if there's that balance, would you want to work with it or just let it go?
So let me clarify too. I mean, there's different ways that we can look at that dichotomy. It doesn't have to be, you know, academia versus the streets. I think what I'm looking for more than anything is someone who has assessed his own values and who knows how to honor those values outside of the template that was given to him, right? I feel like the template that most of us are given, or especially men, you know, get the house, get the car, get the money, you know, elevate in those ways. But I'm looking for someone who's like, you know, screw this. Does any of that actually make me happy? Right? And just yeah, just being an honest soul. And so is that difficult to find? Absolutely. Because I think that, especially with media, we're brainwashed to have certain values. And so for me, it is incredibly frustrating to, climb up the social ladder, climb up intellectually, and to essentially find myself surrounded by people who still don't know who they are, who think that these material things give them some type of higher value, who are comparing the reality of women to superficial women on television. It's, yeah, I'm just looking for something real. Yeah.
Ruth, in your own experience, is it more challenging and increasingly difficult to find a man that is rounded and well balanced? And I don't know if you want to respond to the first question that I asked regarding education. Does that even matter to you?
Yeah, I can kind of tie them together, but I feel like it's really important, just not to sound selfish or anything, but that's one thing that I really look for, because that's, if we can, Sherritta was saying, that really dictates how the relationship is gonna go for me, personally, because I want somebody who's ambitious. Somebody, if I tell, hey, I'm going back to college for this, they're not gonna be like, why are you going back to college for that? So, and even the conversations that you have, you can tell a difference. So for me, to be honest, I really don't leave it on, I put it out of the table. If we're not on the same level, or you're a little higher, just for the motivation part of it, then I don't know if I even want to consider it. Just being honest, because and say they're a good person, but um, the ambition part of it. So you don't have to have your doctorate when we meet or something like that. But the ambition, are you ambitious enough to be like, I want to better myself? And sometimes, even with, doesn't have to be like the CIARA was saying, it doesn't have to be like, oh, a school. So you can be an ambitious business person, but you're doing good for. So that's how I kind of look at it too.
Right.
But I just don't want someone who's very stagnant or yeah. I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me ask a general question. I'll start with Sherritta.
Yeah.
In your experience and from your own opinion, what do you think is it with men that you don't get? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me do this. We're getting feedback, so I keep muting you, and that's not your fault.
Okay.
In your opinion, what do you think that is with men that you don't understand? Like some of the things that we do that baffles you, right? Maybe the way we handle domestic issues, or when we're dealing with stress, or finance, the way we, I know you ponder and wonder, why do we do things like that? So for you, what is it that makes you think about, what baffles you about men? Straight, yeah.
I think what baffles me about men is the communication. I think that when something is really bothering a man, I can't say this for all men, obviously, because I haven't met all men,
But from
but
your experience dating a few men, yeah.
right, out of my experience, when there is an issue, or maybe let's say we both come to a misunderstanding, I feel like the men can't say how he feels, and he would rather bottle it up inside and maybe even not talk, or go out, maybe with his guys, or the communication on how a man feels is never clear, because they don't really want to talk about how they feel. But if you are asked how you feel about something, and maybe in that present moment don't want to talk about it because you're too maybe rattled up in the moment, then they're frustrated. So I think men have a higher expectation for women to say how they feel, but men never really truly say how they feel if something is really truly bothering them, and that baffles me.
Wow. Ruth.
It's the same lines. It's just the thought of, the expectations, and also I really have an issue with someone. Like, if you know you're not interested in the relationship, don't lead somebody on, because half of the time, like, I'm being honest and I'm putting myself out there, but do not lead me on. Like, I understand you can be like, hey, we're enjoying each other's company, but I don't see this going anywhere. But they have an issue saying that. And then 3 years down the line, well, I still don't know what this is. So I do not like that.
Ciara.
I think I don't know, I get a little perturbed by how a lot of men stick to traditional gender roles despite the reality of the situation. Like, for example, a man could be dating a highly educated woman and still believe that he can assert a certain type of power over her just because he's a man, instead of honoring the fact that, she's probably pulled her weight on her own for some time. And maybe we can come to the table a little bit more balanced, at least in terms of respect for what each person has brought to the table. I found some men, they will date or marry down just to protect their position as a man, whatever they think that means, versus being challenged by someone. And I shouldn't say challenge, because it doesn't have to pose a challenge. It should be an opportunity for growth. But yeah, I know men who are incredibly unhappy in those marriages, but they did it just because being with that person who they knew couldn't really pull them up in any way. They couldn't really vent their issues and receive any type of reciprocity, but they knew that in that connection, they would feel more masculine or more powerful. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, there's a secret behind that. I'll share it. Sherita, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to touch on what Ciara said.
Yes, go ahead.
Because I actually made a statement recently where I said, I feel like there's times where men are in competition with the women that they're with.
Yes.
And I felt like, man, why am I saying that? That's crazy. But it's like, maybe we can pull each other up, but if they see you, making more or doing more, then it kind of almost becomes a competition for them to do more and make more. And it's not like they wouldn't say, oh, baby, I'm so proud of you, but in the back of their heads, it becomes a competition. And I almost feel like at that moment, that's when it becomes like a detriment to the relationship, because you're doing more and making more, or having more ambitions than they would be doing because they feel stuck. I don't know. That's a whole.
Absolutely. Can I piggyback off of that?
Yes,
please?
Yeah.
Because I absolutely agree with that. I think that the way, like, the African American community is kind of structured in this society, it allows that, right? We're already told from such a young age that, hey, we're in a disadvantaged position, and like we said, some Black men get coddled as a result of it. So it's kind of this insular type of situation. So if Black men are competing, right, competition is seen as a part of masculine pride. A lot of times it is with their own women. I hate to say it, I don't have statistics to back me, but generally speaking, I don't know if a lot of Black men in their communities are thinking like, yes, I'm about to go toe to toe with the white man. I'm about to go toe to toe with the Asian men. But what I do often find is that competition with their women. And I think that that's a large part of the reason why there's such an imbalance. Absolutely.
Okay. Ruth, I'm sorry. I keep doing this. Yes, go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, I mean, I don't know how, I agree with both of them. It's just like we were saying earlier, if you feel threatened, and I actually had a conversation with a friend the other day, and they're like, well, and I was telling them my goals and stuff like that, and they're like, well, some men don't want a woman who's very educated. And I said, if somebody has to feel threatened by my education or my where I'm at in life, then I don't even want to be with you. But because we're pulling, I don't see you as a competition. I see us as a team. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe I can chime in here a little bit. Yeah, maybe in your experiences, in your different experiences, you've had men trying to compete with you, but Black men also, when they date outside the race, and say Asian or any other race, they also date very high educated women, is just as Black women. But I think what they experience there, which some guys have shared, is that even though the other women in these different ethnic groups are highly educated and financially stable, they make them feel like they still make them feel like they're the boss. Because for men, that feeling of, okay, I submit to you even though you and I have the same financial standing or status, even though my standing could be higher than you, I still want to do things, or I'm going to have you feel like you're the boss or you're the king. Men like that. I'm not saying women should do that, but intrinsically we get drawn to that type of environment. And so I don't think that men are trying. For me, in my own opinion, I don't think men necessarily want to compete with Black women. They just want to feel like they're the king, like they're the leader, even in spite of all the money and the status that the Black women have.
But can I say something to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say that feeling is a fallacy, though. And I think that the Black men understand that upon entering those relationships. I hate to, bring the obvious forth again, but in terms of finances and just in terms of how Blacks are perceived in this society in general, one could say we're at the bottom of the social hierarchy, despite all the great things that we bring to this American culture. So if you already know that you're occupying that position, but you're getting in relationships with people that have more social advantages, a person can make you feel like a king all day, but the reality of those dynamics. And perhaps that's why that performance can be allowed, because at the end of the day, those women don't lose anything by making you feel like a king because they're already protected. And I think that's the issue too when it comes to Black men, because again, if you want feminine women, you have to give them the space to be feminine. And that's where the heavy duty work comes in. You don't get that type of femininity from women who have been unprotected for generations, and I'll say this too, not to just put all that pressure on men. I think that Black people in general, we're at a place now where we have to actually earn one another. And I think that we've taken each other for granted for some time. We all have to put in that extra work to really show that we're working side by side with one another, that we're in this together. Because just being Black alone isn't going to do it. It's not going to get that femininity out of us, right? And even on the flip side of that man who's going to step up and provide and protect is not going to just happen for Black women just because we're Black, right? We have to actually listen to one another, see what we need to feel uplifted and make that happen.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. SHERITTA or Ruth wanted to add anything to that? Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely. I think there was a point where CIARA said that we have to, correct me if I'm wrong, you said we have to almost earn each other's respect. There was a word you used, but it's not coming to me.
I can't remember the word.
But yeah, right. The general,
like we have to earn each other or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to kind of take that and broaden it a little bit, and that's just for my own situation. Not only as Black Americans we have to earn each other's respect, but Black people as a whole, Africans and African Americans, we have to earn each other's respect. We are no different. The African American and the Africans, we're all Black. We all come from the same place. Yes, maybe during slavery we ended up here, but we have to start looking at each other as a place of respect. And also with African men, their way of making a woman feel feminine kind of starts in the kitchen, which is so, for us, it's old school. For Americans, that is so old school. And I feel like we have to almost come to a common ground when it comes to African Americans and Africans and also Black Americans. We have our own thing that we have to come together with, men and women, but then to just generalize it, I think it's just all Black people as a whole have to start doing that. And I think that's where the relationships are going to grow and prosper. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very powerful point. Ruth.
Yeah, and honestly, that's such a good point too. And honestly, if you think about dating, we think about we're having fun and sex and stuff, things like that. But if you think about the concept of dating, these are the conversations that should be had. Like people should be having these conversations because, we might think of a national platform, but just in the dating scene, when the person say I'm African, I'm dating an African American, man, these are the educating them or educating each other or sharing these views, having these conversations and not feeling like, oh, we're fighting each other. Because sometimes I feel like it feels like, oh no, you're just trying to attack me or something. But just being open-minded and be like, how do you view this thing? How do you view this? What's your opinion on this? And just keeping an open mind. Yeah.
Wow, it's minutes to 7 p.m. CST. We're here in Chicago. This is the Progressive Mind Show, your number one community building platform. We ask that you share the feed if you're watching us on Facebook. We live also on YouTube and on Twitter. Today's conversation is dating the black man, and we have these beautiful three queens who are sharing their experiences and also giving us insight from a woman's perspective, what they expect or see with their black men, their black men. And I feel like it so far has been eye-opening, and I'm learning and hope to learn some more. Hope you are too. We do have a lot of comments on the feed. I will be sharing them. Some are questions to our ladies. So ladies, we will take some questions. At 7 p.m., we'll take a short break. When we come back, the show will continue. But let's take some, let's go to the comments, actually. This is Melinda Ashford. She's on YouTube. She says, it's indefinitely an issue if a woman make more money than the man. I can see how that would cause a problem to their manhood. They have lots their place, but women have to become so pro boss women. Okay, thank you so much, Melinda Ashford. Let's see here. Women want to see that men can lead, though. This is from Queen Vanna. Thank you. Now, anybody wanted to comment on this, Melinda Ashford's point?
Yeah, I do. I feel. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times Black people get brainwashed by what's being presented to us on television. But when we really, really look at the statistics, when Black men do well, they do way better than Black women. Right. And I wish I could actually draw up the exact statistics, but I know I have looked at the statistics that say this. A single Black father has a higher chance of raising his child outside of poverty than a single Black mother. And so I think that, there's a lot of stuff that we have to come to grips with, because yes, more Black women are getting educated. We're bossed up, we're presenting in a certain way. But the reality is, our men, again, when they do well, they do much better than us. And of course, collectively, we could do even better. So again, when I think about that, I think about the pro-boss woman attitude. But I'm wondering if we're getting those pro-boss funds, and if that independent woman streak actually works to our detriment, actually. Yeah, but that's just a thought. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, your comment. I don't know anybody else wanted to add to that real quick. No? Okay. Okay, so this one just came through, and I want to okay, she said, so she just responded to your comment. That's a must. Queen Vanna says, many Black women everywhere have surpassed many race groups in education and career, and want to feel, that's a continuation of her point, want to feel more emotionally connected to their partners. Okay. This one is from Ate. I love that, Ciara. You were right. You hit the nail on the head. Okay, thank you, Ate. But Ate had a question for you. No, I think a rebut or something to an earlier point that you made. So I'm trying to find that. She said, so many men living with their parents, but have experienced things. Okay, this is Melita Ashford again. Women want to see that the men can lead, though. Yes. How is? Let me take this because a lot of questions. But let's try and see. There is. She says, yes, lack of communication. Speak with other people about me and not directly to me. Okay. There is no competition without opposition. All right. A man that's not emotionally available. A man that's not emotionally available. Okay. So that is what baffles you when it comes to men. Sarah, please, men do not marry or date down. We just marry who we want. Women are the ones who come up with a term marry or date down.
Well, can I say something to that?
Yeah.
So I think that I was speaking generally. I would say, sure, in that moment, yeah, men marry who they want. I guess I'm speaking more so about the conversations I have with those men who married certain women and the things that they say about how they don't feel emotionally balanced, how they don't feel like that reciprocity can even be given. So yeah, I would agree that, yeah, you marry who you want in that moment, but long term, yeah. Yeah.
Long term, yeah, right. Do you guys sometimes wonder as women what a man would want? Financially educated women, beautiful women versus not educated but beautiful beautiful women. Which one do you think that men would typically want to go for? Let me start with Ruth.
I think it depends on who you're dealing with.
No,
because
I know it depends, but what I'm saying is from your perspective as a woman, if you look, if you're thinking about men and how, if you're dating a man, you're wondering how they do things, how they react to things, and you said something interesting earlier, but I can't remember exactly. But again, so if you're thinking about, if you have these scenarios and you're looking at a woman who's educated, she's beautiful, and she's beautiful, she's educated, she has her own money, versus another, and then there's another woman who's also beautiful. Which one do you think, but not educated, which one do you think the men will be more likely to go to?
I think they'll probably lean more towards, you're educated and
obvious, yes.
Yeah.
So I think that yes, we all like, it's obvious, it's human nature. I think it's vice versa. But I'm saying this based on what Atta said in terms of marrying down or dating down. A man typically will be attracted to these things that we just said. But at the end of the day, when they want to settle, they may, money, education, status, beauty it's not the most important thing for the man when he wants to settle. But at the end of the day, when he wants to settle, he's looking for something outside these three categories. And we mentioned it a lot of times. But it seems that is typically what men look for, which is, can I be treated as a king regardless? Typically, that's what men go for. The terrain has changed, and there are a lot of dynamics out there. But again, it's just to add to what brother Atta said. I know somebody wants to respond. You all want to respond. Sierra, Sherita, you're looking at me. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, contrary to what some people may believe, because I'm very aware of how I present. I would agree with some of that. I mean, I think that men are very complex. And so generalizing often doesn't get us many places, because I've never met two men who think exactly the same way. In fact, some men may even be against the whole king, label that you said, like, oh, they want to be treated like a king. Some just want to be treated really well. And so I actually do agree that there's something to say for the heart and the spirit of a woman when it comes to choosing to marry her. I went to a great college. I really did. But I do recognize the ways in which it kind of trained some of us to be a bit pretentious, and how do I put it? I understand that no one's going to marry you alone for your education. Like, who cares, right? At the end of the day, I feel like it's more so about how do you love, right? And I think that that's a very supreme type of intelligence. But I also want to say this too, when we talk about, you know, educated Black women and how that might hinder their ability to marry, we have to keep in mind there are more white women who are educated than white men. Okay. And their marriage rates are not suffering as much as Black people. So I think that we have to start really looking at Black manhood too. What does it mean to feel like you're fully in your manhood, fully in your power, whatever that may mean? And why is it that a Black woman who's educated might potentially threaten that? Because it doesn't always threaten other groups of people.
What it means for a man to feel, I mean, for men, I always say our respect is very important to us. If we feel like our respect or our authority is being challenged in any circumstances, in any environment, we will fight it. And a lot of times it doesn't matter who is challenging us, right? Our instinct is to defend our territory the way we were made. If you're anybody, I mean, if you're a Christian, we were made to have dominion, you know. And so we just feel that way. Anything around us, we want to protect. And we're not expecting competition. The only time we expect competition is when we're actually going to kill. We're going to hunt, conquer, and bring home. So when we come home, we're in our territory. We're not expecting anybody to challenge us. If another man comes into our territory to try to challenge our authority, we're going to fight it. So that and so if the woman also, by her actions or by her unintentional actions to succeed or to help the marriage or the relationship, may come across to the man as attacking his authority, his jurisdiction, or attacking his authority, and so that instinct to defend just kicks in, and he reacts the way he reacts. So I think that you said something very powerful. How we all have to learn how to love one another and communicate, because sometimes we misconstrued and have and get the wrong perceptions from each other when we all mean well. But I know Sherritta wanted to make a comment earlier, so please go ahead.
I lost it. I should have written it down.
Yeah, that you notice. You see, that's a difference, right? Sarah is a teacher, so she's writing her stuff down.
I am.
Yeah, I've been watching her the whole time. She writes down. But Ruth.
Yeah, but I definitely agree with the comment about men are supposed to lead, and if you're a Christian, if you even go back to the Bible, there's these roles that are defined for men and women, and not to take care of that, and not to take away from that, because as women we're caring, we take care, but I think it becomes kind of, I don't want to say crazy, but when those roles are like, people take them too seriously, like I'm not trying to be like, oh, you're still the man of the house. When people use that word, you're the man of the house, but it's not that I'm trying to take that role from you, but let it not be like a competition, like, if you're doing better than me, then you're trying to take that role from me. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I definitely agree with the comment about men are supposed to lead and women have their roles in relationship, in marriage, but yeah.
So there's a question here. Let me see if he says, can you give an example of a man's authority being challenged? Okay, the man listening, I need your help. But from my view, a man's authority is when, an example is if he makes a decision on what he feels is best for the relationship. Let's say choosing between going to a movie versus going to visit the family, the lady's family, or something, something that has to do that, something that's not really pertaining to the relationship, right? It's outside the relationship, and he decides that, based off our finances, and based on maybe our time, this is what would fend well for us. This is what's going to benefit us. And if he decides on that, and the woman says, you know what, but my friends, I have a date with my friends and I can't disappoint them. I need this extra time for myself. And you don't want to do, if you don't buy into that, decision that he's taking with a goal of protecting or making sure that relationship is secure. He thinks that, well, why are you not listening to my leadership? Why are you not following my leadership if you know that I am the leader? Because I'm making this decision for the better of our relationship, and you are trying to do what you emotionally is connected to or what you're emotionally going through. It's not to say your emotion is not important, but he's thinking long-term, right? Long-term finance, long-term. And I think that's one example. On top of my head, that's what I can think about. There are other things. I'm sure Pastor Arte and some of the men listening can chime in. But Queen, I hope that directly responds to your question, or at least gives you a satisfactory answer. This one is unfortunately bounce back. We all want that. Okay, it's ultimately about balance. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's see if we can get some more comments. They want it all, but I think it's mostly the physical from what I see. If they are broke, they want the money, but chase after beauty. Okay, there were some comments that came through from the beginning, so let's try and take those as well. Rebecca is watching. She says, no, this is from Bridget. True, Sherita, Black mothers cuddle Black men a lot. Rebecca says that is true. Yaira says very true. Sorry, I missed what you were saying true to, but thank you, Yaira, Rebecca, for chiming in. This is from Angie. She says Africa Porter, Janice, John, Annette. That name I'm not able to pronounce. Annette, Tiffany, Glass, Peggy, Whitehead. Okay, I think there's a roll call here. Thank you, Angie Mims, for chiming in. There was a comment she passed earlier. She says, I don't believe you need to have a college degree to be an intellectual. Sometimes degrees are a function of opportunity. Okay, at this point, we will take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. This is the Progressive Mind Show, your #1 community building platform. We encourage that you share the feed while we take this short break. When we come back, this beautiful queen will be here to keep the conversation on dating, today's Black man. I think we have Sherita back here. Okay, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm sorry. There was more people wanting to join, and I couldn't help but to send them the link again.
Okay.
Sorry.
Awesome. Cool. So here, Oge, can you hear us? Okay. I thought we had Oge, Felicia on here, but the feed we're trying to connect it once we get her again. Okay. Time to take this short break so I can drink some water. I'll be right back.
Welcome. Chris Toffee Financial Company is ready and available either group or one-on-one basis to help you understand different investment opportunities in America that you can invest in with any amount. The right college account for your children to withdraw money. We can help you to get appropriate life insurance that you can withdraw money or take loan. And if you're in the process of buying or refinancing a vehicle or a house, we can help by building up your credit score. We also repair credit by permanently removing negative items such as medical bills, collections, late payments, foreclosure, bankruptcy, inquiries. We also help all businesses to get business loans and credit by building their business credit. If you need any of our services, please feel free to contact us at 512-999-6724 or chris@christoffee.com or visit www.christoffee.com. Thank you.
There is a cry.
Aglo, Aglo, Aglo. Aglo Bolingbrook Lighthouse is a network of caring women. We are a dynamic global movement with a single mission to see God's purpose fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Our mandate is every nation touched and every heart changed for God. We invite you to our prayer meeting every Saturday and breakfast meeting held every last Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. via Zoom meeting. For more information, please contact Dickness Rebecca Modi at 630-297-1471 or Reverend George Ofe Ado, our advisor, at 630-414-9505. We look forward to having a refreshing time with you in the Lord. Thank you and stay blessed.
There's a cry in my heart.
Welcome back to the show. We have some people are still on break, so we would go to Sierra Miller. She is an African American professor at Kennedy King College. She's also the CEO of Sierra Miller Center. We didn't get to talk about that. I know that's a very powerful company that you have. You tutor. I'll let you give us more information on that, because that's very powerful what you're doing with your company. Ruth WAINAINA, is that correct?
WAINAINA.
Okay. She is Miss Kenya USA ambassador, and also an MSN student at Rush Medical Hospital. SHERITTA Thomas is a marketing strategist and a professional dancer. I think she went and got some chocolate. I understand. I hear pregnant women like chocolate a lot.
Yeah.
She's expecting, so my sister is expecting too. But I don't know. I don't know if Brie likes a lot of chocolate. I'm not sure. She doesn't talk about chocolate. But maybe she's that different African woman who doesn't like chocolate. But that's just by the way. Okay, can you hear us now? Felicia, can you hear us, Felicia? Okay, our fourth guest was supposed to have joined us from the beginning due to technical glitches. She just joined. We're trying to get her into the studio. Can you hear us, Felicia? All right. Whilst we try to sort out that I was going to say financial difficulty. It's not financial. Technical difficulty. Let's go back to our guest. Now, before we went on break, was there any comment that somebody wanted to share, a point that somebody wanted to make that we missed? Please go ahead and do that now. Before we go on to the next point. Okay. Cool.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna make it really short and sweet.
Okay.
The last question you asked was, do you ever think about what men want in a woman?
Yeah.
That question was very triggering for me, because I think that even when men know what they want, you can have everything that they want, and they're not exactly ready for what they truly want. So I never really thought about what they might want, because if it's not me, then why am I trying to fit the standard of what they might want? But that was it.
Can you give an example? Can any of you give an example of what Sherritta just shared? So so Sierra is saying Ruth, I'm sure you're saying too. Felicia, we can hear. So Sherritta, it's on you now. You brought that up. Can you give us one example? It doesn't have to be your current relationship. Maybe something you experienced in the past.
Okay, so let's say you're in the beginning stages. These are just the talking stages. You're going out, you're having great conversations, everything is going great. And then all of a sudden the guy just disappears. Maybe my assumption is incorrect. But I feel like in that moment the guy got scared, or the man got scared, because he wasn't ready for what he truly wanted. Because if you didn't do anything for him to ghost you or to disappear, then that just means that he wasn't ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and you hit it right on the head. If a man disappears, yes, a lot of times is because.
Can everyone hear me?
Oh, good. We can hear you now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes. If a man disappears, typically is because, there are relationships where, you talk it out, you break up amicably, but if it just leaves and you don't get to see him and hear from him again, yes, you were not the one. But Yeah. And he knew this all the whole time. Or, because typically a man, it doesn't take a man too long to know that this is the one. Sometimes 3 months, he can decide and know, okay, this is the one I'm going to settle. And so if it's lingering and he's not necessarily saying it, like Ruth said, we're not communicating, we're not, and I think it's not fair, to be honest, to all men, just communicate, if it's a short term, long term, whatever. Look, just be honest. And if she gives it to you, she gives it to you. Then if she doesn't give it to you, you move on to the next one, or just stay. Yeah, or just stay and pray. But I think it's not fair. Some of these things, because a lot of men do that. So, okay, thank you for chiming in. I know it's been a challenge. Pastor Atta, I get your point, but I'm not getting it. So you feel free to ring in to share. Actually, at this point, let me open the phone lines. It's 815-277-5047. 815-277-5047. Okay, we've had this conversation. Sorry we couldn't get you. You've listened in. Take a minute to address, first of all, introduce yourself and address some of the things we've shared so far. If indeed you heard the conversation from the beginning. If not, I'll just repeat the question.
Yeah, sure. My name is Felicia Fredericks. A lot of people know me by Oge, or Ogechi. That's my middle name. I am an African American woman. I'm also known as an Igbo American. Firstborn of first generation of immigrant parents from Nigeria. And yes, I've been listening intently onto the show about the dynamics between dating for Black men and Black women and African Americans and Africans and just Blacks as a whole. And there's so much I have to say. The thing is that, where do I begin? I guess my first thing to begin with dating is accountability. Okay, before we, look at what we're looking for in dating a man of any race, but particularly a Black man, we as Black women have to ask ourselves, what do we want? And are we willing to compromise on what we want as women dating men, particularly Black men, and knowing the package that Black men come with, because they do come with a package. It's almost like UPS. What can Brown do for you? And whether or not we're willing to deal with the package that Black men come with. And from judging from the panel and our discussions, yes, not only are we willing to deal with it, but we're also willing to, accept a lot of it. And we do. And now we're basically navigating our way through it. And this is very interesting. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your comments. Having said that, ladies, Sarah, you said something earlier. You said men are complicated, but as a man, I disagree with that. But another day we can have that conversation. But I think men are very simple. But let me ask you, ladies, when you're dating a Black man, what would be your expectation? Let me start with you, Sierra, and we'll go around. What are your expectations when you are dating a Black man? I'm sorry, that's on me. We couldn't hear anything you said from the beginning.
Oh, sorry. No, I just said that he leads with love and not ego.
Okay.
And I think that's incredibly difficult, especially given some of the comments that were made earlier about men feeling challenged, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of being the decision maker. For me, that's a lot of ego. And that's also a lot of, I guess, traditional roles, which can be respected to an extent. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like, can you love? Can you talk things out? Respect is, I often feel respected in my relationships. But yeah, I look for someone that can love. Like that's the biggest form of intelligence. Yeah.
let me take it back, and I'll come back to this. Now have you respond to the earlier question. What do you think that men want most? Ruth, let me start with you. Give the three top things that you think men need most from your own woman perspective as a mature, grown, educated woman. What do you think it is? Yeah.
I think they want someone who can respect them.
Mm-hmm.
They want someone that can love them or take care of them.
Okay. So for you, the three is respect first.
Yes.
Love and take care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sherita.
Oh man.
Honestly, they want a woman to be submissive.
No. Okay.
Yeah, and that's it goes back to the previous comment. Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned three things, but for you, the first one is submissiveness.
I'm sorry, can you tell me what you mentioned again?
I mean, the three top things that men need. Again, from a woman, matured woman, when you look at men, when you think about men, the three things that you think that they need. And starting from the top, you said one is submissiveness. Are there any two things that comes on top of your head? If not, it's okay.
I think they want a woman who can be submissive, that can potentially lead and guide their children in the future, and also, to be honest, someone who can take care of them.
Okay, thank you. I'll come to Sierra, but because Sierra just spoke, so I want to go to the others, and then we'll come to Sierra. Felicia.
I believe that Africans and African American men want respect. I feel like for them, respect is love. They equate love with respect. If you respect me, you love me. So that's one. Two, they want a level of understanding. They want to feel like they are understood, not only as a Black man, but as an individual. And number three, they want us to support their manhood and basically embrace them as a man. In other words, even if we make more money than them, slide that money under the table so they can pay the bills, so they can feel like that support of a provider. I feel like they get knocked down in the outside world so often, so that when they come into their home or their inward spaces, they're uplifted, and they are, even if society does not want to make the Black man or African man feel like a man on the outside world, that in their home, that the women and the children in their home make them feel like the king and the men that they truly are. That's the three things I feel they want.
Thank you so much. Sierra.
Yeah, respect, number one. This is where I get superficial. I think that they I think they want someone who's visually pleasing, right? Like she has to be attractive. Yeah.
Beautiful, yes.
Yeah. And then lastly, I was between two. At first I was gonna say someone they can have fun with, right? She should be a joy to be around. But then I think that's kind of tied with someone who supports their dreams. Yeah.
Thank you. And you all nailed it. Being a man, 100%. Respect, submissiveness, respect. And again, not to challenge, but to just respond to a comment Sierra made earlier with regards to men's ego or men wanting respect coming from an egoistic standpoint. I think that, like they said, is just basically, if you respect us, to us, that's love. And so it's not for us. It's not because we just want to hold on to ego. Let's go. We have a caller coming through. Let's take this caller. Yes, caller. Tell us your name and why you're calling. Can you please turn down the volume of the device you're watching us on? Awesome. So we're not getting the feedback. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes.
This is Ate. I'm not just a fan, I'm a super duper fan.
Yes, thank you so much.
I want to weigh in on this conversation. And I'm very, very happy that you asked that question, Senna, about what men want in women. So it's not I think one of your guests said that men are complex. It is actually not complex at all. We are very, very simple. So I think in general, these women were able to nail it on the head what men want from women. So I mean, by them being able to come up with those three persistently, like it's not a complicated thing. If you ask men what women want from them, I'm telling you, you'll have a whole bunch of different answers because many of us don't know. We really don't know. I mean, we have an idea, but we can't really nail it on the head. Respect is so important for men. And I believe that in this, I'm from Ghana. So in my society, in my communities, it's a given. Men are respected. And it's very, very few situations where you see that men are not respected. So that gives us the space and the room to lead, number one, and also gives us the space and the room to sacrifice for our family's well-being. So when you have that respect and you have that support from your wife, no matter what, it gives you boldness and it gives you confidence to go out and do what you can for your family. I believe in today's society, especially amongst Black people, that support and that respect is not there. You know, many times I hear women say, oh, well, he needs to do this before I respect him. No, in every situation that you go into, when you become a child in your father's household, you respect him automatically. Your father doesn't have to prove himself before you respect him. You take it to the military, you look at the military leaders that we have. They don't have to prove themselves to you before you lead, before you follow. You follow them automatically. That is a given. It gives the leader the ability to lead because no leader can do anything unless a person who's following gives him that power and that authority to lead. So I would love it for us to just get rid of that narrative that, oh, he has to prove himself before I can lead, or he has to prove himself before I can be a woman to him. Let us be who we are. Many times we want to get away from the roles, but I'm a Christian. I believe God has made us the way that we are supposed to be. God has made men more muscular. He has given us more height and more weight, more ability to go under stress. Go and look at coal miners. The women are not in the coal mine. Women are not in the militaries in the harsh conditions. Women are not doing those high-level, high-risk jobs that the men are doing because men are able and capable of doing it at a higher rate. I'm not saying women can't do it, but they can't do it as effectively and efficiently as men can do it. What can women do? Women have a wonderful ability to raise our children. And that is what we are losing today. Because women want so much to be ambitious and to be bosses and to be owners, they are delaying their motherhood or delaying marriage to a certain point where now they get to, let's say, 35, 36, 37 years old, and now they're not married, but yet they're still having children. And when you don't have a father in the household and you have single mothers, the children are losing out on the balance. Earlier in the show, you were talking about how men are coddled by their mothers. That is natural. Women coddle their sons and coddle their daughters. Men are there to counteract that. I was talking to, and I work in psychiatry. I was talking to a patient, and he was complaining that his wife is babying his son. I said, this is natural for women. If you really look at society, usually around the age of 10, 12, 13, that's when men really start to take hold of their son and say, you know what, you are a man now. I am training you to be a man. If a man is not there, a mother continues to baby that child. So you have a boy who's now 25, 26 years old, and anything that goes wrong, he runs to his mother. He can't stand on his own as a man because he has not been trained how to be a man. Women do a wonderful job in raising boys and girls, but a woman cannot train a man to be a man. I think one of the biggest problems we have in our society is that the authority of a man has been just kicked away. So there's no balance in raising our children. I would love for Black people to be married at a higher rate than they are, but it's not happening. And I can't say I blame the women or I blame the men. I blame the society. I blame our culture because we have not prioritized marriage. One of your guests, someone wrote in the comments that the other races prioritize marriage. It is so true. I'm married. I'm a Ghanaian. I'm married to an African American woman. We both came out of nursing school together. And she said when she started working that all of her white co-workers, by the age of 26, they have children. Sorry, they're married. They have children. They have homes. How many people, and collectively, do you see Black people, Black women at the age of 26 being married, have children, and have a home? You don't see it because they don't prioritize those things. And our culture is not prioritized. Oh, after 30 years old, I'm going to do that. But men don't usually want to go after 30-year-olds. They want young women. One of the things that you said that men like is beautiful women. The beauty is the best. I hate to say this, but the beauty is the best in the 20s. It's not the best in the 30s. Your peak as a woman, in my point of view, and this is proven by nature, is below 35. It's not after 35. So you have to prioritize marriage at a younger age, which I believe our women are not doing. and our men are also not doing as well. It's a cultural problem. It's not just with men or just with women, but it's a cultural problem where marriage is not prioritized, and we want to be bosses and we want to be kings and we want to be queens. And I don't believe in all that. When people call me a king, I say, you know what, thank you, but I don't need to be a king to find value in myself. I'm just a man. I'm just an asset. So I think we need to get to that point where we love each other, who we are, and prioritize marriage, because a woman can lift a household, but a man lifts up a community. And because the men are not leading, the community is where it is. So I want both of us to get together, men and women, prioritize marriage, and get to a place where we can all benefit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any of you have one to rebut before he runs away? Anyone wants to attack him before he runs away?
Yeah, please don't attack, but please, you know,
Okay.
I mean,
Anybody?
I have my thoughts, but you guys go ahead and I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how Ruth did.
Yeah, Ruth, go ahead. Sorry. Ruth, yeah, Ruth, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to let them go. So I know you mentioned that, you know, like probably say white women by 26, they're like married or compared to like black women. And not even to bring race into this, but sometimes we don't have the same opportunities, you know. Some of them will go from high school to college and then everything is like kind of easy for them. And for us, sometimes I feel like we're having to fight for these opportunities, you know. So it's not about, and then there's this mentality about, you know, sometimes even dating black women, you know, like, oh, sometimes somebody told me we're labeled as, you know, very loud and stuff. So when somebody meets you even without having a conversation with you, they already have this mentality in them that you're probably this kind of person. So it's not, I don't feel like, you know, it's fair to like say, well, we're not trying to make effort today. You know, that's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Sierra, you wanted to comment too?
Oh goodness, I'm like, where do I start? I feel like we have to think about. Oh wait, did you say something?
No.
I was gonna say I think we need to think about our current reality, right? So it's one thing to say, oh, you know, women are getting all these degrees and that's not what's gonna have a man marry you and so on and so forth. But the reality is Black women are the most educated demographic in the United States. So what do we do about that? We can't reverse that. And I would say that a lot of Black women have gotten those extra degrees because they've had to do all things by any means to elevate themselves in their communities. You know, marriage often falls in the hands of the men. So when we talk about, oh, you know, women aren't getting married, traditionally, we're not the ones that put the rings on the men's finger. So a lot of that is about men and, you know, their devaluation of marriage, right? Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, Sherita.
Ciara pretty much said everything that I was going to say, but I do feel that it is a little unfair to say that Black women have not prioritized marriage. I think a lot of Black women do prioritize marriage. I think that we do kind of hold ourselves to be a wife or, you know, a provider, or, you know, we kind of do have that standard of thinking. However, like Ciara said, we've had to basically adapt to the standard and the culture of like men asking us. So it's really on the men to prioritize marriage.
Okay.
And then you did bring up the beauty standard and saying that women kind of are at their peak in their 20s. Traditionally, or what I've seen, men aren't really ready to get married until their 30s. So then that leaves us till our 30s. So I think it's very like unfair to say just putting it all on the Black women, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Let Oge respond and then maybe he can come in if need be. Oge.
I could speak personally. I was married and had my first child by 25. All right. And I was married to a Black man. And I would say that even me as a woman at 25, you're still discovering yourself. Even men and women in their 20s are still discovering themselves, finding who they are, and they're getting more solidified in their identities and who they are. And I feel like most people don't really know who they are until their 30s. And I don't know about I can't speak for everyone, but I can definitely say I look better in my 30s than when I did when I was in my 20s. So I'm like wine and cheese. I get better with age.
Okay.
So I can't really speak for everyone in their 20s. I mean, people, the way the world is now, people need to be allowed that space and time to grow. And to say that someone is in your prime at 20s is, I just simply don't agree with that. I feel like you're more solidified as yourself and as your person when you're in your 30s, when you have your career, when you know yourself. And as someone pointed out earlier, yeah, um, it's not women giving men rings. It will be men to prioritize marriage. But men, are you really married, really, truly ready to get married by the age of 25? What I'm finding is that men who get married earlier are still basically playing the field because they were not really ready to get married at 20 something. So let men go ahead and sow their royal oats, go play the field, do what they have to do, so they're not doing it while they are in marriage. All right. So I would rather have them marry later, get that all out of their system. All right. Than to marry early and feel like they had FOMO and missed out in their 20s because they married early and had kids early. No, get that out of your system, become a grown ass man, and then get married.
But then when they become grown-ass man, they're not really, the truth of the matter is they're not really wanting to marry someone their age. When they are grown, like the way you described it, 30, 35, they want to go 27, like at least 5-6 years older is what they're looking at. And that's
Well,
why
younger or older, because what I'm finding is
no,
that men are
no,
also marrying older. They're like, look,
no,
these girls are playing too many games. They don't know
no.
what they want,
I,
that
I,
kind of thing.
I think typically, you and I are Africans. Typically, I've not seen a lot of African men or black men marrying women that they're older than. Typically, a man wants to marry a woman that he is 5 years or 6 years much older than. A man wants to do that. There are exceptions, definitely, but typically that's what happens. And I'm sure that women also would want to marry men who are older than them. Right. I don't think typically women want to go for men who the women are older than. Right. So I think that's the natural law. Right. But Pastor Ate, you on the line. You want to respond to this?
I think it's more than age,
Yeah,
it's more of
absolutely.
maturity level.
Yes.
It,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
not the number, but the maturity level.
But the truth of the matter is that the number does has some effect. Okay. If
Yeah.
biologically the number does have effect. Now you are a beautiful woman, and that's true. But the man sees, you hear. I think for women, it's more of what you hear, what we tell you. For us, it's what we see. And so our definition for beauty sometimes may not be what you think. A man may say, you may you may put on some makeup and do your hair a certain way, and you look in the mirror and you think you look beautiful, right? You look beautiful, but he sees it and he might not admire the extra makeup and all of that. So it's for us to decide what is beautiful. And I'm not saying we define beauty. You are beautiful, but we see differently. And sometimes what you think is might not be for us, So it's just natural. And I think it goes both ways as well, But Pastor Ate, go ahead.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the comments that they made. They actually brought out a few points that I really did like. So one of the things that I said, I didn't want to make it just a woman's problem. That's why I was talking about our community and the culture, especially in America. The culture itself amongst Black people does not prioritize marriage. Now, when I was talking about the age range, I wasn't talking about men. As Senna eloquently said, that men usually are ready to marry, I would say maybe in their 30s. But most of the time, they're not actually looking to marry somebody at their age level. They're looking to marry somebody who's younger. Me personally, I was married at the age of 27. So actually, this Friday will be my 10-year anniversary to my wife. So we've been married 10 years. I'm 37 years old now. So that's not, I know that's not typical, because most men want to get to a financial level, not exactly maturity, but to a financial level before they consider marriage, because that's what a lot of women require. It's not that the man is mature, but the man is showing his maturity by his financial accomplishment. That's usually what takes men longer to actually attain. A woman is not really assessed on that level to attain financial accomplishment. So the beauty, as we've already, the beauty and the I guess the potential motherhood of the person is what we are looking at typically. Of course, there are outliers. When I was talking about the prime, I wasn't talking about someone's emotional maturity, their mental maturity, or anything like that. I was talking about your beauty. Your beauty is physical. It is the thing that we assess on your outside before we even go forward to even say hello to you. It is the outside beauty. I'm not talking about maturity. I'm very, very aware that most people don't even know who they are until they get to an older age. That is very, very true. But I'm just talking about the outside beauty. And I really, as I said, I don't like to say this, but for me, what I perceive to be the truth is what I say. I said the prime for women's beauty is not after 30. It is before 30, where everything is beautiful. And you are all beautiful over here. I don't know what your ages are, but you are all beautiful. But I consider that if you take women collectively and you look at the prime of their beauty, it is generally not after 30. It is generally before 30. Of course, there are outliers. Miss Felicia, I know you're a beautiful Black woman, and I don't know what you looked like before, but I know that you're beautiful now.
I think I think it's with men too. You know, when I was 15, 16, 17, 20, you know, I was much stronger. I could run and play soccer for, I was physically fitter. But now that I'm in my 40s, I'm not running and playing soccer, and I'm not agile as I used to. So I think it's just, it's both ways.
It's human nature.
Yeah, man.
It is human nature.
Yeah. The older you grow,
absolutely.
I mean, yes, granted, we are beautiful, we are nice people, but the older you grow, obviously, naturally, you will not be like when you were 20, right?
No, I'll tell you this. I say that you know me personally. So when I turned, was it 34, 35? That's when I started going bald. So I'm bald now. When I was in my 20s,
that's true. The man had hair. Okay, bro. We gotta get back to the ladies.
But now I'm bald.
Let's get back to the ladies.
I mean, another point that the ladies brought up is that men are the ones who marry women. And as I said, I definitely agree with that point. But culturally, that is the problem. We don't prioritize marriage, both men and women in the African American community. If you go back to my hometown in Ghana, if you go to Accra and you look at the way that people marry, it is a priority. In our culture, most men are not considered men unless they are married. If you are unmarried as a man, a lot of people don't even consider that you're a man.
Yeah.
You have to be married with a family before you are considered a man.
Yeah.
So that's the priority that we put on marriage for men and for women. You're not a real woman until you've given birth to a child with a man, and you're not a man until you have your own family. You can be 35, 40 years old, and they'll still refer to you as that boy.
Yeah.
Because you don't have
Yeah.
So the priority is there. And I think in this culture in America, amongst African Americans, the priority is not there. I would say on both sides, they are correct. It's not just women, but it's also men. But then also we have to understand that because marriage has not been a part of our culture, let's say after the 1960s, 1970s over here, because they don't understand how important it is and what it is to see a family and to reproduce that. That is why we are where we are today. Marriage is at the lowest rate amongst African Americans than it has ever been. And it's a perpetuation, and it's going to get worse because there's going to be more single people giving birth to, there's going to be more single mothers, and then people who haven't grown up in a household where there's a mother and father, and they've seen it as normal, so they accept it as they get older. So I think collectively, all of us need to reprogram ourselves and understand how important marriage is to building our nation, building our communities as Black people, because the best growing ground or breeding ground for anyone is a family.
It's a family.
And outside of family.
Thank you, my brother.
I want to really kind of emphasize on not just the term marriage,
but we gotta have him go. Hold on. Okay. Pastor Arte, thank you so much. I think that other people want to be able to call in, but we really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
We have a caller on the line. Okay, I know you want to comment real quick, but let's see if we can take this caller. Okay, looks like we may have lost it. Hello. Okay.
Hello?
Yes. Okay, please hold on to that thought. I'll have you chime in. And I know Sherita is ready to, they are ready to come in, but let's take this call. Tell us your name and why you're calling, please.
Hi, my name is Ebiyarin. Sherita actually invited me today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna contribute in terms of respect, that men want respect. So, a lot of times, if you look at our parents, I wouldn't say it was respect that yes, it was part of it was respect, and another part of it is I would like put it here, and the way they've been cultured. So it's the difference when you respect somebody, you love them, it comes naturally. Especially because I'm from Nigeria. But can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Can you? Is this a baby?
No, this is Belinda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think we lost the previous caller. Please, Belinda, go ahead and tell us why you're calling, please.
Well, I have a couple of things. I'm just gonna. My first thing is regarding the respect earned. The comment that I made when he said that respect. Basically, he was saying respect is given, or a man should just receive respect. And sometimes, or all the time, respect has different definitions to different people. So you cannot just generalize respect, because something I might do, I won't think is disrespectful. Another person or a man might think is disrespectful. So you can't just say that just as in general, a respect for a man, just to respect a man as it is, if you don't really understand what they consider to be respectful or disrespectful. And in general, respect has to be earned, and it goes both ways.
Okay. Thank you. Great point. Respect has to be earned. It goes both ways. But for one, it's like their very existence. You can deny a man of food. You can deny him of sex. He'll manage. If you deny him of sex, of respect, he'll be gone in a flash. Like, we just can't. It's just natural. So it goes both ways. But for one, it's extreme. It's like a necessity. It's just like, so it's a difficult it's a fine line to walk. For men, we don't even understand it, but we just react like, in that manner.
You respect your father, that's a given. You can't compare your husband to your father. Those are two different forms of respect, and that comparison should not be the same. If you're in a marriage, if you say you respect your father, then you should respect me. Those are two different earned types of respect. It's not comparable.
It's not comparable, the respect you give to your father versus your boyfriend, husband. Yes. But he feels once he's with you, that level of protection that your father would have given you when you are with your father, generally, we have exceptions of men who abuse their relationships or abuse respect, whatever. But generally, that protection your father would have given you, or love, is what he is also trying to. It's natural for him. He's trying to do that. So he's expecting what you would have given your father, not that biological respect that you give your father, but he's expecting that same feel that your father would expect from you. Is just natural for him. So just take it, because again, we can't compare man and boyfriend to father, but the thinking, the acceptance of respect and what it does to us, the way it feeds into our being is similar. The way it does to your father is the same way it does to the man that you were with. The dynamics are different, but I'm just saying the way we see and how it works on us when it comes to respect. And I respect your point, though.
Yeah, and that also goes with the respecting of a woman who wants to achieve certain goals or wants to be obtain certain degrees or get to a certain level in a career, just respecting their goals or their ambitions.
Absolutely.
It's the same.
In the same way. And I would say to any lady and any man, if any man, okay, so to the ladies, if any man disrespects you trying to go to school, trying to develop yourself, or trying to do something better for your community, anything that would develop you, your family, even your relationship, and the man tries to disrespect it, run. Okay, run, because that is not a typical man, or I would say, the right way, the right order, and the natural order, the way we're made is that we build, we uplift. So in a lot of relationships, you'll find, in a lot of relationships, you find the man saying, "Don't you want to go to school? Don't you want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna we want to see you grow." But I think when and so any you find yourself in that situation where the man is trying to put you down when you know what you're doing is good, education and development, I think that you should advise yourself. There's no amount of love or anything that should make you stay in that relationship, because in the long run you're going to lose, you're going to regret it. And I'm just speaking from a man's perspective. I may be wrong, but generally this is how it works.
Okay, and then my second point is in regards to marrying young. So when he made the comment, that was a previous caller, in regarding white women getting married at 26 and so forth, and having a family and whatnot.
Yeah.
You should look at the divorce rate on those types of relationships. As they get married early, they're also getting divorced early.
Okay.
So just as Oge said, you get married early, but you actually don't really know who you are at that age. And as you get older, if your partner is not growing, if you're not growing together, then it's not going to work, or that's what leads to the divorce rate. So yes, it is possible that you meet your love of your life at an early age and you guys grow together and have that understanding. But if you guys aren't growing together and that your spouse is going in another direction, or as Fee said, if they're now are sowing their royal oats while they're married, that's a whole nother situation. So we can't. It's not just, and she also said it's not just the age. You can't just say it's a certain age that you should get married or whatnot. It's a maturity. You have to be ready for it. You have to be mature enough to be saying that I'm ready to get married or whatnot. Not that, I'm this age, so I need to get married.
Okay. Thank you so much. Great point.
Okay.
We really appreciate your points. Thank you so much. I know that we have taken the callers' contribution to the show is as important as our guests and everybody else. And so, again, mind you, this is a community building forum where we come and have these discussions. So everybody's point is very important, and because we're all learning. But and this is a platform where we try to be as open as possible so that we can become a better society. So you know, some points may not go well for others. Please bear with us. It's a learning process for everyone. But ladies,
I do appreciate it. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. So please go ahead. I think we have another. Before we take this caller, I know we have two callers already. CIARA, Ruth, Oge, and SHERITTA. Any comments so far before we take the next one?
I have a comment.
Quickly, and then we can take the next call.
Yeah. I want to emphasize on not just marriage, but healthy marriage.
Okay.
As Africans, a lot of us are, as an firstborn gen, I was raised with both parents. A lot of people that I know was also raised with both parents. Okay. And just because you have two parents in a household, or you have parents, or you have people that are married, doesn't necessarily mean it's the best situation for the child. If you can be involved in an unhealthy marriage. So I want to kind of not just prioritize just marriage, but I want to prioritize healthy marriage.
Love it. Thank you so much for a great point. Caller, can you make it quick for us, please? Hello, caller. Yes, please turn down the device you're listening to us or watching us on, and then go ahead with your comment.
Hi, this is Sabiari. Hi, I think you lost me the other time that I was talking.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was saying something about respect. So respect is not even something that should be a discussion between couples.
Okay.
Because it's something it just come naturally. When is the way when someone treats you, if the man treats me right, I just naturally respect him. I naturally, and women are naturally submissive. When we love someone, we submit. Like you don't even have to ask. So it shouldn't. The moment a man, I feel like the moment a man is questioning his wife's submission to him, is it they're bad for each other, or he just wants to enslave her? Because submission, like, it's not a topic. It just comes. You just submit naturally to your husband.
Wow.
But what some men, they don't want submission. They want authority, like full authority over you. Like when they say yes, you can't say no.
Wow, that's a very powerful point. Yeah.
So like when I've been married for 2 years now, and me and my husband, we've never had any conversation of submission and respect.
Because he does the right things, and then you just naturally submit.
Yeah, you just naturally submit.
Okay.
And when men, a lot of people, they kind of like, emphasize on the word submission. But the Bible, and they quote the Bible a lot of time. When people say that I'm a Christian, I don't know if every other person in the house is
Yes,
a Christian.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
So they quote the Bible and tell you the Bible tells, the wife to submit to the husband. Well, what you're missing is the Bible said, honor your wife.
Yes.
That is a much stronger word
than submissiveness. Yeah.
When you honor someone, it's like you give them, like, it's just almost like you worship them, you adore this person. When you adore me, I don't have a reason to disrespect you.
Yeah.
When you honor me, I have absolutely no reason to disrespect you.
Okay. What is I be sorry because of time, so I want my guest to also respond to this. My question is, what is honor for a woman? How would you want a man to treat you to feel honored? Ruth.
Well, it goes back to like respect and communicate. Communicate to me and trust. Just if you trust me, then that really goes a long way for me. That's honoring me.
Right. Trust means don't go through my phones. Don't question where are you coming from, where are you going, who are you talking to.
Yeah.
That is trust for you. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Yeah.
Sierra, I know you've taken a lot of notes. I saw you taking the notes. She's a professor, so she's about to give it to us, point by point. Before you give us a lecture, and no, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I know someone's trying to get in, trying to call. It's 815-277-5047. My apologies. I think I mixed it up the earlier time. I had it as 57. So Sierra, please go ahead with your point.
How does a man honor me?
What does that mean? What does that mean literally? If to say a man is honoring me, what would it take? Yeah, how would you explain that? What is that for you? Yeah,
I do think that well, I feel honored through respect for who I am and what I've come through. Honoring my life narrative and really, and so this brings me back to that point about respect being just given. I'm gonna actually go against that. If we think about where how we exist today, I do believe respect has to be earned to a degree. And so I feel honored if a person understands that that respect may not be just given to them because they're dealing with a respect-worthy woman. Right. And so your masculinity alone isn't going to make me submit. I'd like to think that I'm not super combative. I might have a lot of ideas. I like to have conversations, but I won't be combative, but you're not going to get that total submissiveness, because for me, there's a difference between respect and love. I can love a lot of people, but not necessarily respect them. Because when I think about respect, I think of reverence. I think of admiration or praise. And a lot of people I love don't necessarily get that from me. I feel like I'm all over the place, but those are just some of my some of my thoughts.
Okay, yeah. But for a man though, Ciara, you should know. No, not you should know. I'll take that back. For a man though, if you love him and you don't give him that automatic respect due to his masculinity, and you say, "Okay, I'm going to love you in different ways,"
he can dump me then. Yeah.
No, I'm saying no. I'm saying those different ways that you're trying to love him, he's not seeing it as love. That he's not even noticing it.
And I agree with you.
Okay.
And I recognize that. And so that informs the way that I look at dating. I can say, okay, I can love that person, but do I respect them? And I know that if I don't respect them, it's not going to work. And that's, I think a lot of women may not distinguish, especially African-American women, because I think that the way that African-American women and men are socialized, I think we're socialized to be more on a balanced playing field for the simple fact that many of us are raised by single mothers. So there isn't this, masculine authority all the time. In fact, that can be a major turnoff to many African-American women because it's so odd, right? Just speaking for those who were raised in the single mother households. But I think to understand that, wait, I have to actually have admiration for this person. I have to recognize that this person is actually better than me in a lot of different fields. I think when we start looking at that, then the feeling of respect that the man wants in the relationship will be more easily attained versus coming into it already expecting that balanced playing field.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Ruth, there was a comment that, I just wanted to follow up on the thing regarding how you feel honored is not to be, let's say if the man is not, you don't expect, if he's not questioning you all the time, like where you are, what you're doing, all of that, you're saying that's your language, right, of being honored, right? And that's your language of show of trust, right? And that's what's very important to you.
Yeah, there should not be a reason for that.
Okay, good. Great point. There shouldn't be a reason. And again, being a man instinctively, and you can ask, all men, based off our nature and how we were created, if the thing is within our jurisdiction, we want to protect it. It could be our shoe. It could be anything. Okay. More so a beautiful woman or more so a woman. The number one thing for a man is our weakness is our women, So he would want to protect you and subconsciously he's asking where you are, not to sometimes, some people do it excessively, but sometimes he's asking out of that intrinsic nature of protect. Were you at a safe place? Is the person you're talking to safe for you? Now, you may see it as, oh, you're trying to know too much, but in his mind, I want to make sure that you're not talking to the wrong person, or you didn't go somewhere that you could be harmed. I am trying to protect you. He's not saying it like that, but his instinct is acting that way. And sometimes a lot of times we're not able to control and manage it in a very wise way or matured way. So it comes across as, are you trying to control me? You're trying to control me. But that's how we are wired. Just like how you guys care and want to nurture and want to love, we want to show you love by protecting you. And again, sometimes we may do it in different ways that may come across as being trying to put you down or trying to, what do you call it? There's a word for it. Control you, So it's just a piece that I wanted to share, from a man's perspective. And that's just how we are. We'll do it to our child. We'll do it to the kids, our mother, our sisters. The only person we will not do it to is our father, because we know, okay, he got it. But if you are a son and you are under our roof, as long as we feel like you are under our jurisdiction, we want to protect you. So son, brother, even brother who's staying with me, I want to make sure, bro, where did you go? Like, you cool? That kind of thing. So it's just a little perspective that I wanted to share. All right. Okay. So any comments from Sherritta? You've been quiet for a long time. The baby is tired. The baby is trying to. The baby is saying it's time for mommy to take a break, right, or take some rest. Is that what the baby is saying?
She's muted.
All right, Sherritta.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
No, I was saying a lot of things that you guys brought up and a lot of topics are like almost triggering. And I actually had to ask myself, what does it look like for myself to feel honored? Because I don't think I've ever really asked myself that question. So I think I just started thinking about my own experiences and how I would want that to look different. So I guess like just giving you guys an example, sometimes when you come into a different culture or different family, the family might not like you because you're different, you know? And that has been my experience. And I think that if my man is honoring me, if his mom is saying, you know, I don't like this person because maybe she's American, or if his sister's saying, I don't like her because she's American, I think my definition of like being honored is really standing by me, and that's what's going to make me feel honored in any situation. Even if it's like your homeboys, like, oh, you know, asking, I don't know. There's just so many different instances, but just really always uplifting your woman is just like the best honor you can get.
Okay, great point. Somebody asked a question earlier, how do men want to be respected? Sometimes we just want to win the argument, you know. Yeah, no, that is one way of us feeling, you know, being, you know, feeling respected. And again, having in mind that respect is our food, is our everything, right? And so even when we're wrong, getting the feeling that, you know what, you're wrong, but you know what, I don't believe what you're saying, but that's fine. You can have the last word. I'm not saying that men should always be doing that, but I'm saying that naturally we can't help it. It's a tendency for us, all right, to always win, you know, win, you know, bossy, you know, authority, right? It comes naturally for us. So sometimes when we get the last word, even though we may be wrong, we feel respected. Guess what we do? We in turn shower love. We in turn want to protect you and love you more, and you know, and do all these things for you. Actually, you want to write the next check for you to go buy that shoe that you don't even need. You know, if you have the money, you know, if you show us these things, right? We go about and we tell our friends, man, this woman, you know, we discuss that, you know, because sometimes we know that you just gave us that opportunity. You just gave us that, even though we knew that we were wrong, you know, but she let me win. And sometimes we like that. I won't say sometimes, but it feeds into our ego, which makes us a man. If a man does not have ego, he's not, I don't know what he is. But Sarah is giggling to that.
Hey, you know me. You know how I am. You're not going to win an argument.
Good. But let me take this point real quick. Okay, I'll come to you, Sarah. My 2 cents to every woman trying to date is to check or watch how they treat their mothers. You will know how he will treat you in marriage 70% of the time. Okay. How a man treats his mother is definitely the way he treats, influences the way he treats you. That's a very great point. And I think there's another point that he made here. He says, we love our women to the max, but our character that fails us, we blame it on Eve. Okay. Sierra, okay, Ruth, I know you all have some points, but Sarah, go ahead with your comment real quick. It's actually 9 minutes past 8 p.m. Anytime we get into this conversation, of course, you know that it gets interesting and we go past our time. So please pardon us. We'll be wrapping up very soon. Sarah, please go ahead.
So I was thinking about my takeaways from this conversation, and I said, okay, so men like to be lied to. They like younger girls. Okay.
Wait, did you say lied to?
Yes, that's what I'm gathering. So let's go here. They like to be lied to. They like younger girls because, they look fresher or probably haven't fully developed themselves mentally. Where else could I go with this? A lot of the respect that men want is, it comes from not considering the fullness of the woman. So and that's just based on this conversation. Of course, these are all generalizations. But for me, I get what you're saying. I actually do. And I think that I've enjoyed my last few years of being honest with myself and not necessarily lying to men if I disagree, but kind of showing that loving heart and just having a conversation, because all this other stuff is very invalidating to the full humanity of women, I think.
Well, last quick comments from you all, so we can take your last points, last words before we end the show. Any comment that somebody wanted to make earlier that we missed, Ruth?
No, I just have the last comments. That's all.
Awesome. Okay, I was gonna ask, man. So, what do you guys expect from men? Quickly, Sarah.
Oh, can I come last? I have to think about that.
Okay, come last. Okay.
Can you repeat your question so I can
What do men expect from men? Sorry, women, black women expect from their black men.
What do black women expect from their black men?
Yeah, especially when you date.
I'm at a point. I can't speak for all black women, but I can only speak for myself. And for me, I am dating beyond the 5 senses. I don't use my physical sense to date. I use my spiritual sense to date. I say this because as you get older and over time, even younger people, your eyes fail you. Over time, your ears give out. If you get sick, or like I am, I'm feeling under the weather, so sometimes you can lose your sense of taste or your sense of smell. And sometimes even your sense of touch can even fail you. But when you tap within your spiritual self, your prayerful self, and you can see someone in the spirit realm, that is, you can see someone through frequencies and vibrations and spirit, that's how I'm dating. I am not dating with my eyes. That whole thing of you walk by faith and not by sight. I am dating by faith and not by sight.
Okay.
Your eyes will fail you. So my thing is, when I'm expecting more and what I'm looking forward to nowadays when I'm dating is that spiritual connection. There's nothing like it.
Okay, spiritual connection. Sherita, what is it for you that you expect?
I always go in with zero expectations. And it's always what you show me is what I give back and what I will accept in order to continue with the relationship. So I don't start off with expectations, and I don't know what most black women would expect from me.
Okay. Thank you. Ruth, let's take this caller real quick. Ruth, before you come in, caller, please tell us your name and why you're calling.
My name is Fran.
Yeah, and can you please make it quick for us because of time?
Sure.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for the good work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
My question is, if you are a guy and you love a woman, but the woman is older than you, and your friends are teasing you, but you love the girl, will you listen to your friends or your relatives?
Right. That's a good question. If you love a woman, man, we are very strong-headed. Okay, at least everybody knows that. So when a man really truly loves a woman, it doesn't matter what anybody says. If he's not there, he's not there because he doesn't want to be there. But he will not listen to, even his mom is not going to convince him to stay away from you. So typically, I mean, that's how men operate. His friends can discourage him, and it may lead to him not seeing you frequently or giving you 100% attention, but it's not going to completely leave you. Again, if he does, it's just because he doesn't want to, because of a few reasons that he may not be able to communicate to. And that goes back to the point Ruth made. A lot of times Sarah, you said something. You said we like to be lied to. Sometimes we feel like you guys would like to be lied to as well, because we feel like when we tell you the truth, right? Tell the truth, you're not going to take it. So we better lie to you so that you can make us have our way. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily make us feel guilty. Because men don't want to go through that emotional stress. So we'll just lie to you and try to make. So I don't know if that answers your question, ma'am.
Yeah, because I've witnessed some whereby the man wasn't able to take the woman out, even though he loves it, but because of what the friends have been saying, so he
Yeah,
feels reluctant taking the woman out.
yeah. So sometimes if the friends are telling him something, he may listen to his friend on a few grounds. One, if he doesn't know you and he feels that, can you turn down the device you're listening to us on, please? Because it's giving us feedback. If the man feels like, okay, I don't know this woman too well, the people around her know her better, he may listen to them because he probably might be coming from a place where he might have been disappointed in previous relationships. And men try as much as possible. We do everything to protect our heart from being broken because we are not too good at managing emotional pain. So we do everything to stay away from it. So if he's coming from a place like that, he may listen to his friends. Now, if he listens to his friends and he sees some of the things that his friends has told him, and he's seeing those things with you or around you, he may tend to believe what his friends are saying. And so that could influence his decision to stay away. Oh yeah, this is what they're saying, and I'm seeing this, so they might be true. It might be true. But I think the best thing to do in that moment, if you truly love the woman, and you see the woman loving you and respecting you and all of that, I think that it will be a good conversation to have with the woman to say, look, I heard these things about you, okay, and be honest with me. If you want to keep doing those negative things, maybe it will be a problem with us. But if you want to stop because I love you and I want to have something good with you, if you can stop that or maybe work on those things so we can all grow better, it'd be nice. So men can have these conversations rather than just walking away, because when you do that, you keep the woman in limbo. Okay, what's going on? And I think it's vice versa. A woman can hear things about men, but please have that conversation with a guy, and everything you've heard, say it to him. Say it to her. I mean, say it and have an open conversation. And then I think that's how we grow. I hope that helps, ma'am.
Yeah, we're talking about the age.
Age, okay. Well,
the age difference, that's the problem.
Well, yes. As I was saying, typically, look, men like to have fun. Men are not always, because of our instincts, the first thing we're looking for is not I want to settle down. Yes, we want to have family and all of that, but we like that feeling of conquest. Oh, yeah, I was able to get that lady. It's natural, and I'm sure it's with women too. Typically, a man would want to date someone he's much younger than. But if there's an older lady or somebody who, if he meets a woman who's older than him and she's beautiful and she has things that attract him physically, he may want to have some romance with you because of the physical things he's seeing. He may want to entangle with you one way or the other. And again, as a man, just say that. Say, look, I want to have fun with you, but I'm not ready for like a long-term relationship. But a lot of times men don't say that, because if he tells you he's not going to have long-term relationship with you, you're probably not going to give him what he wants. So it's going to look. That's not. We haven't
advice.
We haven't. Women. Yeah, but naturally, a man wants to be with someone he's much older than. So if he meets an older woman, beautiful and everything, yeah, a man would always want to say something. If you give him the chance, he would do what he wants to do. But if you are looking for a long relationship, you should have that conversation. Say, bro, this is what I want. And if it's not into it, you have to advise yourself. And again, I encourage both sides to have conversations, open conversations on what we really, really want. If it's fun, say it. If it's long-term, say it. And if you can't get it, you move to the next one. I think it's fair. Right? Let's treat each other the way we expect to be treated. And I think we can have a better and healthier community, right? Okay. I hope that helps, madam.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep watching, liking Progressive Minds, and so we can all, keep having these conversations and making our communities better. Okay.
Sure.
My pleasure. Ruth, your point quickly as we try to wrap up.
Yeah. So I think we're talking about dating and what we expect from a man, right?
Yeah.
So I think over the years I've gotten to being like the energy I feel around you. If I feel drained when I'm around you, if I cannot be myself around you, then I'd rather just hang out by myself. So it's just like, and it's so easy to know somebody's energy if this is gonna be compatible or we're just wasting each other's time. So yeah.
Okay, my brother here says we protect our heart and ego. Yes, yeah, we broken hearts. We can't manage broken hearts at all. You see how we deal with headache and slight pain. We're all over the place. Let alone issues of the heart. We can't. So, but thank you, Kay, for your comments, guys. I think it's been very wonderful. It's 21 minutes past 8 p.m. Understandably so. But we'll come back next week. Okay, next week we're gonna have you and the guys. Okay, so we're gonna have a full house so we can continue the conversation. I know we have now exhausted. Professor Miller still has a notes. She hasn't gone through them yet. We hope to finish. We hope to finish up next week, Wednesday, same time. So stay tuned. Before we go, I'd like to inform everyone that the Progressive Mind show is excited to. For those of you who have been following us, we did an event in 2019 called the Exchange Ceremony, where we commemorated 400 years in the city of Chicago, 400 years and the year of return in the city of Chicago at the DuSable Museum. This is where we brought the diaspora together to celebrate our heritage. We gave out awards. We had all the different cultures representing the African diaspora perform their cultural dance and cultural activities on stage. Beautiful, beautiful moment first in the history of Chicago. We're going to be doing that again come February next year, first week in February, Black History Month. So stay tuned for more information on this. It's called the Exchange Ceremony. If you want to know more about it, visit our website, theprogressivemindshow.com. Go to the Exchange Ceremony tab. You're going to learn and see a lot and get all these pictures about what we did. My good friend has been trying to reach the show for about an hour now. I'll have to have him talk. I'll have to, even though we're closing, we are about closing, I have to get him in. Black Jesus, go ahead. I already know who you are.
real quick. I tried to get in, so but it took you. But let me jump into this respect. This what you guys are talking about. I just want to chime in real quick.
Yeah.
My 2 cents is that we all know for sure that love is a spirit. We know that. So it's a whole umbrella. That 2 people get into that umbrella, and those umbrellas, there's 2 things that hold that love. A man doesn't need love. A man doesn't need love. Same thing as a woman. Things that a woman needs from a man is simple: protection. If a woman show more protect a woman, this woman, then the woman should have that mentality that man, he cares for me. A man needs something in that umbrella that called love. It's respect. If you don't show that respect, a woman, if you don't show that respect to that man, no matter what, I don't care what you bring on board, what you bring on the table and things like that, that man will walk away. So there's 2 things. A man's duty is to protect the woman. And the duty of a woman is to show that respect, and that those things blends in or cause him to raise that umbrella that is called love. And then you see that understanding will come in, all these lovey-dovey, all these things fall into that 2 things. But I have a lot to talk about. I know that your time is gone, so I'll just leave it like that.
We're coming next week, bro. We're coming next week. Next week, Wednesday.
I think let's do the boys and girls conversation.
We're bringing you on board too.
I can't wait. And then, let me talk real quick about getting ready in marriage. Men, I always say this: we've never been ready. We've never been ready. The 90-year-old man is like the 2-year-old boy. We've never been ready. Now, this is it. It takes a woman to make that man ready. Because there are some other things, because a woman have that bracket. Between the 25 and the 35, if you go up the bracket, now it becomes a challenge. So a woman have that range to be ready. If you are not ready at that time, to be honest with you, it will be very tough to find a man. So it takes a woman who is ready to raise the antenna of a man to think, oh, this is the one. That's why when a man sees somebody, he sees a woman, he says, man, this is, I don't know what, but there's something about her that makes me.
Okay.
You don't even know what that something is, but there's something about her that keep me there, and I want to marry this woman.
All right.
So it takes a woman to make a man ready.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, there's more to talk about, but I can't wait to come on board next week.
Let's do that. Yes, thank you so much, my brother. So he has shared his
I want to
opinion.
say hi to Black Jesus right quick. Hi, Black Jesus.
Oh no, I think he left.
Oh no.
So yeah, he has just said what he thinks you all women should do and what men should do. Okay. he just let it out there that you don't have to do this, you can't do that, you can do that. That is opinion, and that's the beauty of the Progressive Mind Show. We air it, we dialogue, we disagree we disagree to not disagree. No, what's the phrase? Sarah, help me with that phrase.
Agree to disagree.
Thank you. We agree to disagree. Yes. I asked her because I know she's a teacher, so she's in the mood. Don't worry, I mess with everyone. But thanks for being understanding, and I would really want to thank our audience for sticking with us. Next week, join us 6 p.m. same time, 6 p.m. on same platform. We will continue. We will have the guys and ladies here to continue this convo. And as I was saying, so watch out for the exchange ceremony. Is coming up live. There's a lot to be done. We also want to announce that if you have young ones who are willing, or if you want to have your children visit Africa, there's a program that is currently ongoing. Right, they are taking young kids to Africa for free. Right, you don't have to pay anything. So if some young people who you would want to send to Africa to have a feel of the culture and that kind of exchange program, reach out to the Progressive Mind Show. But the number to ring is 815-409-9123. Or if you get in touch with us through our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, you should be able to get in touch with us. Our email address is info.progressiveminds@gmail.com. More to come on this. Sarah, please give us your quick 30 seconds closing remarks, and then we'll go to Ruth, Oge, and then Sherita.
Oh, goodness. I guess I'll just say that what I expect from men is more so a standard, which is that you're honest, you're kind, strategic with how you make your money. I don't want anyone laboring for someone else for too long. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just loving, genuine. Okay. That's it.
Loving man. Thank you. Ruth?
Yeah, so I'm really had so much fun talking about this, and just getting different opinions and perspective of people. We might disagree, but it's good to see how other people think and feel. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad. Thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Felicia?
I'm with Ruth. Thank you for having me on the show. And I guess the main thing that I'm looking for, my expectation of a man, based on my spiritual values, is that he loves God or his creator. When he loves God, he will then know in turn how to love me and others. So I feel like even in loving God, he'll know how to love himself. So my main thing is that he loves God or his creator or whoever he identifies as his creator. Then in turn, he will know how to love himself because he knows himself. And then in turn, he will know how to love me. And that's the expectation that I have.
Awesome and powerful. Sherita?
Funny, Felicia, she took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say exactly that. That I think that in this conversation that we talked a lot about, different scenarios, and I think what it really all boils down to is like having a godly love, and a godly love is forgiving, it's understanding, it's give and take. So yeah, I think that just in general, that's pretty much what I got out of all of this. And we do put a lot of expectation on each other, and I think that we have to even the playing field at one point.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for your kind last words. I have to ask this question. I have to put it on board. This is a question. Anybody wants to respond to this one? Hey, I'm not gonna say it. Anybody wants to? Yeah, you all see the question from Oge to Sierra to Ruth. Hey, Sherita, you're pregnant, but you could be single, so I don't know. Look, it's possible in our world today. So, anybody wants to respond to my brother's question?
No comment.
Ruth, how about you?
No comment either. No comment.
Well, I'm single. To be quite honest, I am single.
Okay, so we got it from her. Ruth. Okay, so can you see her belly? So she is off the market, guys. Her belly is full. Expecting a beautiful baby very soon. All right. We are very pleased to have come your way. Keep the conversation going on. And like I said, this is where we come to build our community. So engage us off and on this platform. Okay. Keep sending in your comments. Like us on Facebook and YouTube page. Subscribe and turn on the notification so that anytime we come your way, you can you can be notified to chime in the community building show. Well, on that note, to whom much is given, much is required. I'm your host, Alinko. To my beautiful guests, Sierra Miller, Ruth, Felicia Oge, Sherita Thomas. I really appreciate you and thank you so much for your time and your input. Hopefully, you all can be on the set next week with the guys. That love. Felicia, stop laughing like that.
I'm sorry.
It's not funny. It's gonna be serious next week, Wednesday. We're gonna be at it again. But guys, have a wonderful evening. All right. It was nice meeting you. That's nice having this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Looking forward to next week.
Yes, absolutely. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.